The other night, I took a few hours and did some work on the dash of the 62 GMC. This had an opening for a radio, and then it had a couple of holes here for something. I don't know what it was. Then here we had a choke and a cigarette lighter, and there was another hole here. I don't know what this was for. And then a tiny hole here, and then a switch on this side. And on the kick panel, there must have been 10 holes over there where they had attached all sorts of things. There were a couple of speakers down there. Looked like at one point it had fire extinguisher or something. And so went ahead and filled all that in. Need to block it, sand it, finish it. But the thing that has got my attention here is I want to have a color break right here along this edge. And so I want to paint this Arctic white, the steering wheel and all of this. And then the rest of it, I'd like to paint it this color to kind of match the seat. And so there's going to be this line break right here. And I know it's only a couple of inches on either side, but it's one of those things that people just kind of gravitate towards and they look at. Picked up some of this masking tape the other day, and I've just been masking things off with it. And it's so odd. Right now it's sticking, but it got to where it would not stick to the things that I put it on. And so that's just really obviously not what I want to use. The blue tape, it's usually does well, but it is not for that kind of line. I've seen individuals use the pinstriping tape and then also the frog tape, and so I'll probably go in that direction to try to get that crisp line, because I know that when I've looked at the lines and I've seen them, it just bothers me when it's not crisp. And this is a work truck, so it doesn't really, it's not that big a deal, but it's one of these things that I'm going to be looking at, and so I want to make sure it's kind of right there. When the paint bleeds and kind of crosses the line and looks terrible, it's just one of those things that seems to kind of catch my attention, and I notice that, man, that's not right. And this is what I found in life too, is that when our lives don't have a crisp line that says, I will not cross this line, and our lives just bleed into all kinds of things, then we're not really people of integrity. And that becomes a problem. And if we identify ourselves as children of God and our life bleeds into the world, we have no testimony and there's no credibility there. And that's somewhat problematic. And if this passes down from generation to generation and from person to person, it just really deludes what Christ would have us to do. And this is our devotional today. And it's titled, Do All to the Glory of God. And the passage is in 1 Corinthians 10:23, and then also they point out verse 31. But I just want to point out the fact that it says that that not everything edifies. And this idea of edifying is not really a word that we use today, but it's to build up. It's to build up it. Here I had to kind of build this up a little bit. And so we're to do things that build up and not tear down. And then it says, whatsoever things you drink or whatsoever things you do all for the glory of God. And this is something I think we need to keep in mind, is that everything we do needs to glorify God. If I'm fixating over a little tiny line, and it's something that not only am I'm going to see, but other people are going to see, then if it bothers me, it's probably going to bother them, and they may actually draw conclusions based on that. In a work truck, yeah, even in a work truck, little tiny things seem to kind of matter. And so what about our lives? What kind of lives are we building? And so I think that I love this section down at the bottom. It says, just a thought. Mature believers bear a huge responsibility to help young believers grow in faith. This is called making disciples. And this is the kind of life that we need to live. Even through tough times, especially in tough times. These are the times that we were actually made for. And we need to shine during these times. May God richly bless you. Thank you so much for tuning in. And let's not cross the line in our lives. God bless.